What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got two crazy entitled parent stories which you're gonna love. Let my kids buy the entire store with your money. A bit of background. I'm currently working as a nurse in a government hospital. Government hospitals in my country are the major hotspots for entitled jerks. I could probably recite 100 encounters I've had with the entitled parents. However, this story is a little close to the home turf. This story is about my aunt, the most entitled person I've ever come across in my life. This woman and her family are dirt poor, but she refuses to do any work, citing her health issues, leaving my uncle, my father's brother, to do all the hard work to put food on the table. My uncle, while not entitled, is definitely a coward, as he never stands up to his wife and never tries to put an end to her entitled behavior. And what's worse is that she's raising her two kids to be the same way. I could fill this subreddit with stories of her alone. This is one of those. So my entitled aunt and her two brats had come to our house for a visit. My mum, who is an excellent cook, was making one of her legendary chicken recipes. She needed a special ingredient which is not easily available in our local shops, and we need to go to the big supermarket to get it, and my mum asked me to go get it. OP, take your cousins with you as well. They are bored sitting around here. Get them a little snack as well. My entitled aunt said, if it won't be too much trouble, could you get them something to play with as well? They are awfully bored here. I shrugged, yeah, sure. We went outside and I started towards the bus stand. The entitled daughter said, where are we going? To the bus station. You don't want to walk to the store, do you? The supermarket is a good 30 minutes walking distance. By bus, you can reach it in about 10 minutes. No, of course we don't want to walk, but can't you get a cab or something? A cab is expensive. I'm not going to waste money on a cab when I can easily hop on a bus. If you don't want to get on a bus, you know the way back to the house. They both looked pretty annoyed, but followed me to the bus anyway. As soon as we reached the store, both of them ran away to different aisles. I shouted at them to hurry up as I only had one thing to pick. 10 minutes later, I'm looking around trying to find both of them. I had already picked up the spice and a few bags of chips and sodas and paid for everything. That's when I see the entitled daughter and entitled son standing by a cart filled to the top with all kind of rubbish foods and games. Thinking it was somebody else's cart and that they were just looking, I start to approach them. And then I see the entitled son add more bags of food to the pile. I reach them and ask them about the cart. Oh, we just picked up some snacks and some games to play. We are awfully bored at your house. Some snacks included a load of chips of every flavour and kind, imported chocolates, 5 2-litre bottles of soda, another set of soda cans, biscuit, candies, roasted nuts, juice, crisps and whatnot. And on top of that, there were many board games as well as video games as well. It looked like they had thrown every eatable the store offered into their cart. If I had to take a guess, the total for that cart would have come anywhere near to $450 to $500 US. I sigh internally, knowing that trash was about to go down. That's a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna buy all this garbage. They looked at me like I had just killed their puppy or something. But your mother told you to buy snacks and games for us. I know, and I have bought you snacks. I showed them the treats I bought. I can buy you 2 or 3 games as well, but that's an insane amount of stuff. You're only visiting our house for the day and my mother is already making dinner. Why do you want so many bags of chips? The entitled son looks at his sister. I want it. No, we're leaving now. And then it starts. The most epic temper tantrum an 8-year-old can throw. It included everything. Waterworks, crying with sobs interspersed with I want it, throwing things on the floor, you know the whole deal. His sister had a smirk on her face as if this was something to be proud of. Now see what you've done. He won't stop crying until you just buy him what he wants. I'm not the best at confrontations, but I'm not one to allow people to walk all over me. I quickly put the things the entitled son had thrown on the ground back in the cart and apologized to the onlookers. Fine, you want all this stuff? You can have it, if you pay for it. What? How are we supposed to pay? We have no money. Oh, then I guess you won't be buying anything. And since you have no money, I would suggest walking out with me to the bus without any word. If you don't want to walk your butt back home, that is. I could tell you they were beyond annoyed. They were expecting their plan to work, and because it didn't, they took out their anger by trying to verbally abuse me throughout the bus ride home, telling me how selfish I was and I was mean to not get my little cousins what they wanted. I remained silent. As soon as we got off the bus, they ran to the house like a bat out of a dungeon. I presume they wanted to rat me out to their mother, and I was right. When I reached home, all 3 of them were standing there giving me disapproving looks. OP, my babies tell me you were mean to them and you refused to buy them them anything and told them that they can't have good things because their parents are poor. How dare you say that to them? Have you no shame? I never said anything like that to them. I simply told them not to buy the entire store. My mum, who already had an inkling of what had happened, asked me to explain, so I did. The two brats kept interrupting, telling lies and making up stories, while their entitled mum also kept trying to tell me off. But my mum simply put her foot down and said that it didn't matter as lunch was almost ready. My entitled aunt and her brats sulked throughout lunch, and later when they are gone, I discovered one of my most prized video games, a gift from my best friend, was missing from my room. I knew who stole it, but I knew there'd be no point in confronting my entitled aunt and her entitled kids about it, so I didn't say anything ever. Having entitled family sucks. Well, yeah, I can tell by this story that it absolutely does. You know what, OP, fair play for standing your ground in this story. I feel like if entitled kids don't learn at some point in their life, they will just grow up to be entitled. I mean, look at their mother, right? She seems absolutely horrible, and I'm actually sorry to your mum that she has to deal with that sister. But yeah, you're taking steps in the right direction to make these kids realize that their mum is pretty horrible and they shouldn't take life lessons from her. If anything, they need to look at you and your mum as to how to behave when they're older, and hopefully you set them on the right path in this story. As for your uncle, I don't know, he just needs to start manning up, you know. You can't just take this BS from people your entire life. Maybe he's just one of these husbands that doesn't really care and just sits behind the entitled mum in the shadows, but I don't know, I don't think I could really do that if that was me. But then again, I don't really expect to be marrying an entitled person in my life, so I don't know. Moving on to our second story, I'm on vacation, so I get to use your pool. It's the law. Lots of people seem intrigued by my entitled parents, so here's another one for you. In this one, I'm actually the entitled kid. I know, feel free to roast me. Once a year when I was younger, my parents used to take us all on a trip to Puerto Rico where we'd stay in these fine resorts on the beach. I was reminiscing on these trips earlier with my husband and remembered the free secret pools my mum used to take us to, only to realize what the deal really was with them. One specific story in particular comes to mind about the secret pools. I had to be about 7 or so at the time. My cousins were on the trip with me and were roughly about my age. When the sun beat down too much, the sand got annoying, I presume because of the heat, and we were all crying and cranky, so we'd visit the secret pools. My mum used to lead us up all of these paths around big beach houses. She would go up to some and check the gates. If it was locked, we kept going. Okay, I see where this is going. Finally, one was open and she went in to first check if anyone was in. She called us in, where a big infinity-style pool and hot tub awaited in this gorgeous backyard. We were told to jump in and have fun, which we all did without asking questions. About 15 to 20 minutes later, someone appears at the back door. The following conversation goes down in Spanish, so I'll translate roughly English. Remember, I am unfortunately entitled kid 1 in this story. So the owner comes in. Who are you and what are you doing on my property? Oh, the kids are just playing and cooling off. We won't be long. No, I don't know you. How did you get in here? Then my mum starts to get annoyed. You left the gate open. We were walking by and my kids saw your pool. Yeah, that's not okay. Please leave. What? We're on vacation. You left your gate open. It's completely legal for us to be here because it's on the beach and it's public. We're visiting your country anyway, so we should feel welcomed by the locals. Just let the kids play. I'm afraid I cannot. Please get off my private property. No, just 5 more minutes, please. The resort's pool is far away and it's way too full. I will call the police if you don't leave. Oh, fine. Kids, we need to leave. Come on. So remember, OP is the entitled kid here. Oh, 5 more minutes? No, this mean man says we need to leave. Now both of us kids start crying. See what you've done? You don't know how hard it is with kids on vacation. I have 2 kids and that is not my problem. Both of us entitled kids get out in a huff. Now the second entitled kid, who I presume is one of the cousins, turns to the owner. Can I have a snack? Then my mum says, it's the least you can do. What? No, I can get you some water, but I want a sandwich. My mum glares at the owner as she leads us kids away. You're disgusting. For years, I still didn't understand and would ask about the secret pools whenever we went. After doing it maybe once or twice again at other places, my mum claimed she had no idea about these secret pools and told me to stop talking about them. After over a decade, I remembered these pools and had the realization of what was really going on. Oof. Alright, firstly, I just gotta say that OP, you were not the entitled kid. You just didn't really understand what was going on, as proved by your last point. I think you need to be a little bit fairer on yourself. You said you were only 7 years old, right? You're not gonna really know what's going on at that age. Especially given that your mum was leading you on in these situations. I just can't believe she was going up to random villas and checking if they were locked. Like, come on, how much of a cheapskate do you need to be? It's also just a massive invasion of privacy, especially in another language, and it looks like you don't even speak the language. Like, what are you doing? I mean, I guess you could potentially knock on the door and say, look, I'm really sorry, my resort's pool is really full. Could we use yours for a little bit of time? I mean, even that would be a little bit, well, very weird, really. But no, your mum goes one step further and literally trespasses on private property. Like, come on. I kind of wish that she'd been caught when you were in Spain all those years ago, because she definitely would have been arrested. I mean, that is just illegal. You can't get away with that sort of stuff. But yeah, overall, OP is definitely not your fault, and at least you had the guts to admit it, which is pretty brave. I kind of rate that. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Entitled Parents. I really hope you have enjoyed it. But don't click off the screen just yet. If you want more from me right away, click the video on screen. Trust me, it is an absolute cracker. And also, you know, it helps my watch time, so go on, click that video. And also, if you are new around here, do not forget to subscribe. The button is on screen as well. We are moving ever closer to 400,000 subscribers. Finally, make sure to come back to the channel at 9 PM UK time tomorrow for a brand new upload.